What's going on YouTube? This is Mason AJ with the Aficionados, and today I'm bringing you our reaction review to the newest episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I gotta say, this episode came so hard, son. It really did. It really did come hard. Normally I have S.H.I.E.L.D here, but he's all fighting crime, saving the world, and so it's just me today. And honestly, guys, I don't need him today, because as you guys remember last week, I lost a bet to Lance Excalibur, you know, because we had a bet about whether or not Andrew was Lash, and I'm still a little bit salty about that. I'm just gonna say I'm feeling a little bit salty. But the one thing I gotta say about this episode, and this is also true of a lot of shows in general, but especially for this, was I'm glad that we didn't stretch it out. Like, really, it was just more like, we found out he was Lash, and Agent May found out he was Lash, and immediately this episode, she was tracking him down, she confronted him, and that was already been and done with. You know, I remember back in the day where whenever we used to find out a bit secret or someone's secret identity, we used to track it out for like, even back in Arrow, we used to track it on for like 4 or 5 episodes, man. And I'm like, now to see that the immediate resolution really gave me a sense of satisfaction. Now really focusing on it. So many things happened in this episode, but the major focus of it was the fact we got to see Lash's origins, or at least his Marvel Cinematic Universe's origins, like that. But it really did feel like they related a lot of his character to his comic book counterpart, with him thinking he had to be the cure and the test for the Inhumans. Now, the one thing I really wish they would have added, or at least would have elaborated on, was really watching Andrew's thought process, because I understand, even though it was a very cool origin, I understand why, but I'm still not sure whether if Andrew, maybe you guys can comment down below and tell me this, okay? I'm not sure whether Andrew is actually crazy now. Did the whole experience pretty much cause him to have a psychotic break? Is he somehow like developing his own logic for doing this, or really it's just the Inhuman side, just taking over, and maybe it's the Inhuman personality now that really is focusing on the cure? And if that's the case, why that out of all things? Or maybe it's just a weird mixture of the two, or it's just hashtag comic book logic. Why are we even putting so much thought into this? I do feel it was a little bit, okay, not so little, but it was just a cop-out for them to be like, oh, he's still transitioning, and that's why he can transform, but sooner or later he's just gonna stay Lash. I liked it better when it transforming really did kind of feel more like a Hulk-ism, where it is triggered by stress and emotion, but yet it's always something that's inside of him. So, and like the idea of once again, the idea that he's still in transitioning, it's still in transition out of all the time. Because once again, this isn't happening over days. This is happening over like weeks to months, really. So for the idea that his transitioning is happening all this time, it just feels a little bit convenient, you know, for a little bit of plot convenience, you know. And I'm like, I really would have liked if he did have the ability to transform, or because we're experiencing Inhumanism on such a large scale, maybe it's just one of those things where like they look like, well, if we've never seen it before, but it's just one of those things that's new. Speaking of Inhumans, seeing Daisy try to win over the director of the HCCU to her side and offer that argument, I actually ended up siding, and I didn't expect this, I actually ended up siding and agreeing more with the HCCU director. When someone, you know, as she said in the show, when someone has a gun, nowadays you pick up a gun and it's dangerous, and that it changes the whole level field. So now that you as someone with powers can just level a building like with a thought or a flick of your wrist or like that, it's very scary. And once again, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. out of almost all the shows out there, they really do bring humanism and realism without making it seem corny or just like overly doing it. And I really that's actually the thing I love most about the show, and that's one reason why I love it more so than all the other shows. Now also we gotta talk about at the very end, Phil Coulson, my man, got the booty butt cheeks, and him and the HCCU director are officially dating / knocking boots, at least they're really seeing each other socially, and I can really appreciate that. I feel that my man Phil has gone too long being you know, in his drought of single manhood, and now he's finally able to meet a lady friend equal to his caliber. Unfortunately, it turns out that she's an agent of Hydra, and finally the Hydra angle of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes into play and comes full circle, and we see why they're still relevant, because as a lot of people have said in the comments down below, show, and even myself has said, why is H.Y.D.R.A still a thing? After seeing them get beat down and eradicated within, over the course of the season, it's like them still being in play felt so very tacked on, and Agent Ward himself felt very tacked on. Let that dude fade off into the shadows or into ashes or dust or whatever. And it was such like a mind to such a high extent, because now it causes me to question everything, like really like everything. Is R.E., but also it kind of did make a little bit of sense because of their extreme methods. So now I'm looking at like, is the president a member of H.Y.D.R.A? Because or anything else, like how far does the rabbit hole go when it comes to the inception of the deception of H.Y.D.R.A? And I'm looking like, damn, man, once again, just when you thought you had taken care of H.Y.D.R.A, they always coming back. And now, once again, I feel like H.Y.D.R.A is a serious threat to the S.H.I.E.L.D, and my man Coulson is in danger, man. And I feel, once again, as always, I feel like Coulson and May are just too gangster for the show, and we always got to do something to like bring them down. Ever since we can't let them get too happy, because if they got too happy, they would just walk away from being in S.H.I.E.L.D. So we always got to hit them with something hard to keep them in their line of duty. And as much as I said, that's how I feel, because I was very much a huge fan. Side note, I was very much a huge fan of Agent May and Andrew, and I really love the idea that she would do her agent thing, and she had someone who she can confide in and love on, and just pretty much get the dick from whenever she needed to. What? We all have needs, man, woman, or inhuman. Sometimes you just need to do what you gotta do. And now seeing Phil Coulson go, doing pretty much getting what he has to do, I feel so bad when this eventually is gonna blow up in his face, and I was like, just looking like, damn. Now, also speaking of blowing up in his face, but you hope it doesn't, is my man Fitz. My man Fitz is working ever so hard to save the astronaut on the other planet, and now he made an interesting discovery in this particular episode, where he's like, yo, this symbol on it might actually be a symbol that links to something else, which is one of those things. It's one of those things where I kind of feel like we weren't going to go down this rabbit hole of like, oh no, he doesn't work for NASA, secret organization, inhuman, whatever. But also at this point, I'm having so much fun with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just want to know. At this point, I just really want to know what happens. But also comment down below. Let me know what you think about this week's episode. I was loving it. I love every aspect about it. Daisy, Agent May, Lash. Now that Lash has been captured, do you think that the HCU is going to somehow weaponize him? Because he's been the one Inhuman that's been murdering all the other Inhumans, and has pretty much been unstoppable. And even when he was fighting them in the hallway or whatever, he was just so much of a force and a threat, and he was just nothing you could do. And it was only because Agent May was there that we were able to slow him down. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Tune in next week. I'm gonna do my best from now on to try to have these reaction videos more closely released to the date of it. But no matter what, you can always make sure that we will definitely have them coming up. Once again, this is Mason AJ, and I'm still loving Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now.